Hello, my name is Hasong and I am from Berwyn, Pennsylvania, attending Conestoga High School. My presentation is on Mexine carriers in photothermal drug delivery cancer treatment, and this is a systematic review. Photothermal drug delivery is a cancer treatment method whose goal is to deliver therapeutic agents directly to tumor sites, maximizing efficacy while minimizing systemic toxicity. These therapeutic drugs are encapsulated by carriers that protect and transport them, and upon reaching the tumor, localized infrared light irradiation increases the carrier temperature, triggering controlled drug release. Now, why should people use photothermal drug delivery over current cancer treatment methods? Photothermal drug delivery is essentially a more targeted and focused version of traditional chemotherapy. The largest advantage of photothermal drug delivery lies in its infrared radiation-based activation. The fact that drugs are released only when exposed to a light that can be controlled very precisely allows for targeted, controlled, and on-demand treatment of tumors. This precision also leads to less side effects and systemic toxicity because the rest of the body is not exposed to the substances. The fact that these drugs are concentrated at a singular spot enables a higher therapeutic efficiency than traditional chemotherapy. Additionally, the heat produced by the treatment may also kill the cancer cells through hyperthermia. Now, the most important component to drug delivery is its carrier, because the carrier is what protects and transports the drug to the desired location. My presentation will focus on mexines as photothermal drug carriers. Mexines are a class of transition metal carbide or nitride two-dimensional nanomaterials. They have the formula MXT, where M stands for an early transition metal such as titanium, vanadium, or niobium. X is either carbon or nitrogen, and TX indicates surface terminal groups such as OH, O, and F. Mexines have several properties that make them ideal for use as a photothermal drug carrier. Mexines have high electron density and high absorption at the near-infrared ranges, but high reflection at the mid-infrared range. This creates high NIR photothermal energy generation and low heat loss from radiation due to that low energy absorption from NIR radiation and low IR emissivity. What this ultimately means is that mexines generate and maintain heat extremely well, shown in this lower left graph, where higher temperatures were achieved by mexines in comparison to a carbon nanotube absorber and a metal film. Additionally, mexines can be modified with surface functionalization, which is essential for their performance as they improve many of its uses. Due to mexines' surface terminal groups of OH, O, and F, phospholipid-based surface functionalization can be readily introduced onto the mexine surface. This enhances the drug loading capability and improves biocompatibility, as well as photothermal energy conversion efficiency under near-infrared or 808 nanometer radiation. Moving on to the actual systematic review, I will first go over my methods. I conducted a search using Prisma guidelines with the flowchart shown on the right. I used the keywords mexine nanomaterials, mexines, drug delivery, cancer, and cancer therapy in the databases of PubMed and Google Scholar. I first identified 200 publications, then 46 articles were deemed eligible after the first screening, and 16 articles were ultimately selected for review after the second screening, which is the full text review. There were two experiment types identified in the studies, in vivo and in vitro. In vivo studies used live animal subjects, usually rats, and in vitro studies used cell cultures for their research. And for the cancer type, 3 articles used 4T1 breast cancer cells, 3 used HeLa cervical cancer cells, 3 used HepG2 liver cancer cells, and several used unspecified cancer cell lines. The most common drug used was doxorubicin, or DOX, but 3 studies used sorafenib, 2 used cisplatin, and then 1 each used quercetin, tumor necrotic factor alpha, disulfiram, bevacizumab, and metformin. And for the cancer therapy results, across all 16 studies, mexine-based drug delivery consistently exhibited substantial tumor necrosis, and 5 studies reported total tumor clearance within 23 days, and so the tumors were completely eliminated. Here is an example of an in vivo treatment. There were 5 groups in this experiment. A control group where no treatment was applied, a group that was only given the laser, which is the NIR laser only group, a group with just the drug doxorubicin, a group with the mexine and the laser, and finally the complete treatment group with the drug, mexine, and laser. The tumor volumes were monitored over 15 days after the treatments. Ultimately, the control, NIR laser, and the dox group showed significant tumor growth with no inhibitory effect. But the mexine and NIR laser group substantially inhibited tumor growth, eradicating the tumors in 2 mice and suppressing the growth of the tumors in the 3 other mice. And finally, the dox-loaded mexine group, or the photothermal drug delivery group, achieved complete tumor eradication in all 5 mice, showing that photothermal drug delivery is most efficient when all components are together. Now here is an example of an in vivo treatment. In this article, there were 6 groups. A control group where no treatment was applied, a group that was only given the laser, which is the laser only group, a group with just the drug doxorubicin, or the D group, a group with the mexine and the drug, which is the D and P group, and 2 complete treatment groups with the drug, mexine, and laser. The difference between these 2 groups is in the surface functionalization of the mexine, where one group was given the PEG functionalization, and the other group was given both the PEG functionalization and the RGD functionalization, which is the D and R plus laser group. The experiment was conducted using SMMC 7721 HCC cells to examine the combined efficacy of DOX, mexines, and NIR irradiation. The control and NIR laser groups showed high cell viability of over 90%, showing that the tumors are completely able to survive on their own. The free DOX and mexine groups showed moderate cell viabilities of 60 to 75%, depending on the concentration of drug and the power level of the laser. However, the DNP plus laser and DNR plus laser groups, or the complete treatment groups, showed the most pronounced reduction in cell viability of just 20 to 40%. Now, with these positive results, there are several things to keep in mind. Firstly, this is an emerging treatment, and so there is limited clinical trial data available for photothermal drug delivery. The positive results on these animals might not translate fully with humans. There was also a noticeable lack of comparison to other cancer treatment methods. All of the articles did a comparison to at least one control group, but a more explicit comparison with current cancer treatment methods is needed to really establish photothermal drug delivery's viability as a full cancer treatment method. Additionally, long-term biocompatibility and stability is a key issue. It has already been shown that mexines are biocompatible in the short term, but a longer study needs to be done to see if mexines cause any harmful effects over the long term, such as breaking down into toxic parts or accumulation in organs. Finally, I believe that other mexine materials, wavelengths, and surface functionalizations should be considered for research. All of the studies discussed have used a titanium-based mexine, and all but one used a Ti3C2 composition. However, while this is an effective composition, mexines are a class of materials, and further experiments with other metal-based mexines, such as vanadium and niobium, could lead to positive results. This also applies to the wavelength of a laser used. Branching out into longer wavelengths, aside from just 808 nanometers, may be useful for deep tissue penetration and should be investigated. Finally, different surface functionalizations should be discovered. Since surface functionalization is so essential to mexine's use as a photothermal drug carrier, different functionalizations may improve the performance of mexines, whether it's in targeting, biocompatibility, or photothermal conversion. As a summary, mexine nanomaterials provide a highly effective platform for photothermal drug delivery in non-invasive cancer treatment. They consistently achieved excellent anti-tumor effects with negligible cytotoxicity, with complete tumor eradication in several animal models. However, photothermal drug delivery remains at an early stage of development, and so there are lots of caveats as to its effectiveness. Future research should focus on maxing composition, functionalization strategies, and optimizing near-infrared laser-based photothermal approaches.